So do you want to learn how to make those adorable wreath sashes that everybody has on their front door these days? We are going to make those for the holidays. So I've teamed up with Makers Gonna Learn and 19 other crafters to create some really fun things for the holidays and to hopefully inspire you to get crafting. Okay, so we are about to go into the fabric shop and see what kind of fabric we can pick up for our sash. This is going to be fun. This little fabric shop is in an old house and it is just packed full of beautiful fabrics. This is all the Christmas goodies and I'm loving the, look at this on the wall. Look at this. Oh, I wish I could only make that. Okay, so I think it's either going to be this or this and then with candy canes on it. So this is more of like a pinkish red candy cane type. Right, but it's really cute. Okay, so I ended up getting out of there with something completely different than what I thought I was going to be getting. I got some peppermint candy kind of like fabric, and so how cute, right? It's not the deep red, but I think this is going to be perfect for our candy cane story. So let's pop over to my craft table and I will show you the adorable fabric I chose for our project and I'll tell you the story of the candy cane. You are crafting with Kim Byers. Let's get going. Okay, so when you're working with fabric, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to iron your material. So this is about 1 yard, well this is 1 yard and it's about 42 inches off the bolt. So we can use steam, this is 100% cotton and we get out all of our wrinkles. Okay, so now here we are with our cutting mat and our ruler. This is 6.5 inch quilting ruler. We're going to, this is 42 inches or thereabout fabric. We're going to cut 6 sets out of it. It's 6 inches each. Okay, so we cut 6 strips from that 1 yard of fabric, but because it wasn't long enough to make a 55 inch, we're going to have to piece it together. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of the 6 and we're going to cut these in half. Okay, and we're going to actually cut the fabric while it's folded. We're just going to cut off that center crease. We have our short piece and our long piece. What we want to do is we want to line them up right sides together. And I know it looks like they're not matching, but when we flip them over, they will be. So we want to line those up and then we're going to take our needle. We're going to pin each side, maybe just a little bit more this way so that we won't catch it whenever we start to sew. We're going to take one more and do the other side. Okay, so I am using a Janome and we are going to sew at half. So let me get this under there. My glasses. Okay, there we go. So we're going to lower presser foot. I'm going to put my needle down. Okay, and so we are going to just stitch all the way across at 1/2 inch. Okay, now that I have that down, I'm just going to take out one of my needles. Take out my other. Okay, great. I'm gonna raise my presser foot and just pull it out the back. So now that I've done this, what I want to do is go over to the iron and I'm going to press in my seam and then I'm going to open it up and press it open. But now you can see they're going the same direction. So all of our stripes are going the same direction. Okay, so we're just going to press that in. And then we're going to open it up and then we're just going to press that open. We'll flip it over. Now this fabric is not perfect. I mean, the pattern itself is not perfect, but this is pretty darn close. Okay, so now that we've pressed our pieces together, the next thing that we want to do is take 2 long strips, which are now 63 inches roughly, and I need 55 for my sash. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some off of each end. So depending on what length of fabric you purchase, if you're lucky enough to find your pattern in the length that you need, fantastic. If you're not and you're piecing it like us, you eventually, like point to point, you want 55 inches. So for us, we are taking off 3.5 inches from each end. Yours might be different depending on the length of your fabric. And so I'm also going to go and pin these all along the way so I can take it back to the sewing machine and stitch them up. Okay, so for your diagonal, I'm just going to clip it right here to give myself a mark at 3.5 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to go corner to corner like that. Okay. There we go. Perfect for our little sash. I'm just going to flip it over and do the other end. Okay, so now that we're back on the sewing machine, what we want to do is we want to stitch all the way around, and we're going to go at the 1/2 inch. So we want to stitch all the way around, but you want to make sure that when you get here to the bottom of your sash, you're just going to go to the corner, pivot, and go to the corner, and then back up the other side. But you must leave a 5-inch gap so that you can put your hand in and turn your sash. And then once you get done, we'll press that, and we'll stitch up the opening. But you want to make sure that you stitch all the way down and all the way around, leaving a 5-inch opening. Okay? Okay, and so when you get to the bottom and you go to pivot your corner, just make sure that before you turn it inside out, you clip those corners just so there's not so much fabric in your corner. Okay, so now that we've sewn it all the way around, we're just going to press it flat again. Went ahead and pinked the corners. You don't have to, you can just use regular scissors, but I had pinking shears, and so I pinked the corners. And so now what we're going to do is, again, press it all the way around, and then I'm going to open up the seam and press it all the way around. Okay, so now we've pressed all the way around, and this is what it's going to look like. And so now what we want to do is we go to that opening that we talked about leaving. So it's stitched all the way around, and then we have this opening, and turn it inside out. And if your hand is larger or you think you're going to have a struggle with it, you can make that opening more than 5 inches. But so, and then we'll use scissors or a little tool to like poke out the corners, but you're just going to turn it all the way around. Okay, so in addition to our sash, we're actually going to put a monogram on it. So I'm going to use this glitter iron-on, and we are going to use the Cricut Joy. Okay, so I'm cutting out my design, and don't forget to mirror when you're using iron-on. Okay, so now I have my design. I started to weed it, and so I'm just going to be really careful right here because it's kind of fragile. Okay, so we've got everything cut out. I'm also going to cut out a candy cane. And for those of you who are probably wondering why she keep talking about candy canes, why is this candy cane fabric? Why is she cutting something out that looks like a candy cane? And it really is all about the legend of the candy cane. Do you know it? So the story goes that there was a candy maker that was eager to share Jesus. And he made this candy cane. So he has red and white peppermint candy, and he shaped it to look like a shepherd's staff or the letter J. But the red is for the blood that Jesus shared on the cross for us. And the white is him washing our sins clean or bright as snow. And then, of course, the candy cane looks like the shepherd's staff. So the shepherds were the first to hear the good news about Jesus's birth. And then if you turn it upside down, it also is a J, for Jesus. And so I just think that is such a sweet and wonderful thing to share at Christmas. And so I hope whenever you hand out candy canes this Christmas, then maybe you would even share the gospel. So let me know down in the comments if you already knew the story of the candy cane. Okay, and so we are pressing this at 300 degrees for 30 seconds. And I'm using one of the easy presses from Cricut to do this. And I will do it to both sides. And I like for it to cool down a little bit before I pull or, peel. And you always want to peel from an angle, never just straight down. Okay, and there we go. It is perfect and it's beautiful. Look at that glitter. Oh my goodness, I still love glitter. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that project. I hope that you will pop over to my channel and check out all the things. We do a lot of Cricut crafts, card making crafts, sublimation crafts, and as you can see, I am really enjoying fabric crafts. So I hope that you will join me on my channel, Kim Byers, and I'll see you next time.